I think it's going to be a great thing, but I think it's not going to be all a great thing. And that is where I think that's where all of the complexity comes in for people. It's not this like clean story of we're going to do this and it's all going to be great. It's we're going to do this. It's going to be net great, but it's going to be like a technological revolution. It's going to be a societal revolution. And those always come with change. And even if it's like net wonderful, there's things we're going to lose along the way. Some kinds of jobs, some kind of parts of our way of life, some parts of the way we live are going to change or go away. And no matter how tremendous the upside is there, and I believe it will be tremendously good. There's a lot of stuff we got to navigate through to make sure. That's a complicated thing for anyone to wrap their heads around, and there's deep and super understandable emotions around that.
That's a very honest answer. That it's not all going to be good, but it seems inevitable at this point.
It's definitely inevitable. My view of the world, when you're like a kid in school, you learn about this technological revolution and then that one and then that one. And my view of the world now, sort of looking backwards and forwards, is that this is like one long technological revolution. And we had, first we had to figure out agriculture so that we had the resources and time to figure out how to build machines. And then we got this industrial revolution, and that made us learn about a lot of stuff, a lot of other scientific discovery too. Let us do the computer revolution, and that's now letting us, as we scale up to these massive systems, do the AI revolution. But it really is just one long story of humans discovering science and technology and co-evolving with it. And I think it's the most exciting story of all time. I think it's how we get to this world of abundance. And although we do have these things to navigate, and there will be these downsides, if you think about what it means for the world, and for people's quality of lives, if we can get to a world where the cost of intelligence and the abundance that comes with that, the cost dramatically falls, the abundance goes way up. I think we'll do the same thing with energy. And I think those are the two sort of key inputs to everything else we want. So if we can have abundant and cheap energy and intelligence, that will transform people's lives largely for the better. And I think it's going to, in the same way that if we could go back now 500 years and look at someone's life, we'd say, well, there's some great things, but they didn't have this, they didn't have that. Can you believe they didn't have modern medicine? That's what people are going to look back at us like, but in 50 years.
The thing that I'm concerned is pretty soon you can still tell if it's an AI song, right? Now. But the way that it's moving, like, I don't know, my buddy Louis Bell, he produces a bunch of my stuff, and we write together, and he's the most talented, smart dude ever. But he taught me about like epochs and like how many epochs a better AI like template is. And pretty soon, dude, it's gonna be really, really good.
Yeah.
It's just going so fast. So I don't know, but then they'll just do like a video. Is be like, guys, I made this song. It's so emotional. This really comes from my heart, but it's just a robot talking. I don't know.
Yeah,
not a robot, more like a deep fake or something. Like, guys, I wrote this song crazy, and it's just an AI song, and I'm like, well, fuck, that's better than anything I could have ever made. So I don't know.
It's not gonna be better. It's not. I think there's a thing about something coming from an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Like as they're doing all these amazing, AI images, they're very cool to look at. Mm-hmm. But to me, it's cooler if I know a person made it.
Right. It definitely is cooler. I don't know it's just like, I feel like we look at it different. Like, I feel like the attention span is getting so short now. With like short form content and stuff like that, and it's super instant gratification. So it's like, why, as a fan of someone, right? Even as a fan in a couple of years, I don't see why they're like, hey, I want Post Malone to make a song about this thing that specifically happened to me with the specific person's name in it, with this stuff, and this is super relatable to me, and that's what I want. So then you can just type in the prompt, all this shit, and it'll just shit you out a song, and it'll be the most personalized experience for you.
I wrote a book called The Future of the Mind, where I tried to give a definition of consciousness and where we fit in the larger scheme of things. That consciousness is basically creating a model of yourself in the feedback loop to understand where you are with respect to the environment. So you know where you are. So one unit of consciousness would be a flower. One feedback loop would be looking for water, looking for sunlight, growing in a certain direction. That's one unit of consciousness. Then an alligator has several hundred units of consciousness because it creates a model of itself in a lake, in a pond, looking for prey, looking for food. It has three-dimensional consciousness. Beyond that is the monkey. The monkey has yet another dimension of consciousness, which is not just 3 dimensions, but social. The monkey understands there's a social hierarchy within the tribe. And then the next question is, what are we? What is our level of consciousness? It's not spatial like a alligator. It's not social like a monkey. What is our level of consciousness? Our prefrontal cortex behind our forehead is a time machine. It understands a model of itself in time. This is what animals lack. Animals do not understand tomorrow. We understand tomorrow because of our prefrontal cortex, which constantly creates images of the future. Now, what does the prefrontal cortex do most of the time? It daydreams. It daydreams about worlds that don't exist, i.e. the future. So this is what separates us from all the animals in the animal kingdom. We are time machines, constantly thinking about what's next, what's the future going to be like, daydreaming about all these things. And when will animals become dangerous? The alligator is dangerous only because it has strength, but it only understands 3 dimensions. Monkeys have a society. They're only dangerous when they can organize a society. But we have a prefrontal cortex. We can plot. We can scheme. We can do all sorts of things because we can create our own future, which is something that no animal can do. This is my theory of consciousness, the ability to create feedback loops to get an understanding of where you fit in space, time, and society. We're at the highest level of consciousness. This is my definition of consciousness. Now the question is, where are robots on this scale of things? You see, robots can understand 3 dimensions. They understand like an alligator where they are. They don't understand social hierarchy. They don't know who's the boss, who do you defer to, who are your friends, who are your enemies. They don't understand social consciousness. And certainly, the highest level is time machine, imagining the future. Robots cannot imagine the future. Now, in the future, when they actually do have this ability, watch out, because then they're dangerous. But they're not there yet. They're at level 1. They're at the level of an alligator at the present time.